Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, hearings begin on the contentious issue of net metering incentives for residential solar power customers. The president of the Arizona Board of Regents joins us to discuss the state of Arizona's universities. And we'll look at an exhibit that introduces science and engineering ideas to kids. Those stories next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Eight, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. The Arizona Corporation Commission began hearings today on an APS proposal to reduce incentives for residential solar power customers. Arizona Capital Times reporter Luigi Del Puerto is covering the hearings. He joins us now. Luigi, good to see you. Real quickly, we've talked about net metering so much on this program, but give us a definition. What are we talking about?
We're talking about a system that allows those who have rooftop solar panels installed to sell that excess electricity, the ones that they're not using, back to the grid. And right now APS is paying, purchasing essentially that electricity, and APS is saying that the rate that they're purchasing that excess energy is too high and unfair to non-solar customers.
And basically that you sell the excess energy back to the grid, offsetting the energy use. They're basically saying it's not fair if you have the solar and you're selling it back. Good for you, not good for me if I don't have solar because I got to pick up your costs.
The way to explain it is that the non-solar customers are picking up the cost because everybody's using the electric grid. If I were a solar user, and if I'm using the grid to sell back that energy, then I am accessing that infrastructure. At the same time, I'm not really paying for it. That's what their argument is, that in the end, it's the non-solar customers that end up paying to maintain the cost of the electric grids. And
I guess that those who are on the side of the rooftop solar people, they're saying, well, yeah, but you have less to worry about now, that you have less power to worry about, maybe not. You don't need the new plants, you don't need the excess infrastructure.
They're saying that the current system is working. It's working because you are producing clean and local energy. And because you're producing clean and local energy, you are also easing the burden off of the grid. The utilities don't have to produce that much energy, which they consider to be not as clean energy. And therefore, this is a system that they think we should be cultivating instead of adopting APS's proposal, which is to drastically cut the incentives of their savings essentially by roughly half.
And I heard 30 to 60%, somewhere along those lines. Talk about the hearings today. What happened there and what was heard?
So today, the Arizona Corporation Commission formally began its hearings on this on this proposal by APS. They will probably most likely decide this issue tomorrow. Today, what we heard is a bunch of people who have installed solar rooftop panels, and they're very concerned, very wary, and they've asked the commission to essentially maintain the status quo. What's really interesting for me to see is the absence of those customers or defenders of the APS proposal. They haven't really showed up today. Maybe they'll show up tomorrow. But for the last 5 hours or so, commissioners have heard nothing but an outpouring of sentiment against the APS proposal.
The folks who have already put the rooftop solar panels in, though, they're okay, correct? It's just if you plan on putting them in the future, then you got to worry.
Those who have already the panels right now, they will be grandfathered in.
Yes.
But those new ones would not be. And to the solar companies, that's a problem because they want to keep growing. They also want to keep earning. And if they can't entice customers to get a lease to purchase the system, then it basically kills the industry. To their mind, that's what APS ultimately wants to do, which is to kill the solar rooftop industry in Arizona.
And we should mention that what it sounds as though what APS wants to do is have these customers selling this excess energy back to the grid at a retail rate instead of what is now the wholesale rate. Is that what's happening now?
Yes, they're selling it. I think they're purchasing. I think at 13 cents or something like that per kilowatt hour. APS wants to up that. So basically, APS is saying that that's not enough. What you're paying right now, it's not enough for you to pay your share of maintaining the infrastructure that we have now, which, by the way, you're also accessing.
RUCO, what is RUCO? And RUCO has a proposal. What is that proposal?
The Residential Utility Customers Office a consumer's office rather, is a unit under the auspices of the governor's office, and all they do is basically defend or advocate for the interests of ratepayers right now. They have a proposal that basically says, yes, we believe that there is a cost shift, that non-solar customers are paying for the infrastructure, while those that have solar rooftop panels are avoiding it. But they're saying we should not charge them by the same amount that APS is seeking. And so what their proposal really does is offer is for the Corporation Commission to charge solar rooftop user with a much smaller amount than what APS is seeking.
Kind of a middle ground there,
correct,
so to speak.
Correct. It's about $7 to $8, I think, per month that what they're asking for, and that would increase over time.
And the APS plan is upwards of $70, $80 a month, something along those lines.
That would be the savings that would be cut essentially from
Yes.
if you have a solar rooftop
So
panel.
we got 2 days of hearings. You said by tomorrow we should know something then, huh?
They should decide this one by tomorrow. At least that's what we're hearing.
And did I understand that the staff actually says maybe don't even consider this thing until next year or the year after?
Yes, the staff of the Corporation Commission filed a report. They looked into the proposals that had been offered, and they basically said, let's keep the status quo right now. Let's do a rate case.
Yeah, all right, so which may wind up being something that we talk about at a later date as well. All right, with that in mind, before we let you go, we have to talk about what's happening over in the Philippines. That's your homeland, and it's obviously something that's on your mind. Talk to us about the typhoon. How's your family? How's your home? How you doing?
It's hard for me to watch the images because I'm so far away, and I'm sitting in the comfort of my home or in the comfort of my office, knowing the anguish that they're experiencing over in the Philippines. Fortunately, my mom and my siblings, they are fine. They live in parts of the country that have been spared from the devastation. My mom and my other siblings, they live in the northern part. To my brothers, they live in the southern part of the country. But the typhoon had hit the central islands. Those islands face the Pacific Ocean, and so they get hit every year by these storms.
And you've lived through, when you were growing up, when you were reporting over there, you reported on some of these storms. These, obviously not to this level, but they get a lot of storms over there.
Yes, growing up in the Philippines, every child experiences this cycle of a storm coming and going. And I experienced some of these storms, and I remember very starkly a storm in 1991 and what we had to go through and the devastation that had, my town was whipped by that storm, not as bad as in other places. And as a reporter, I often covered these disasters. And so, like I mentioned, it's hard for me to watch these images and to know what's going on, having been there and also being so far away and feeling so helpless about it.
The impact on the Arizona Filipino community, what's happening out there? Any organizing efforts going on? What are you seeing? What are you hearing?
There are efforts to contribute help, to send donations. Our church, for example, is collecting donations this Sunday. I know that there are other organizations and nonprofits that have hunkered down and are trying to help. The country needs help right away, and it needs help later on also when the media spotlight is gone. The rebuilding will take years, and hopefully within those years when we rebuild, the country's not hit by a storm with the same level that we have seen.
Real quickly, from what you understand regarding these storms, from what you understand of the country, socio-political impact over there, could there be some sort of unrest, fallout, changes? What do you think?
It's tough to say at this point. I know that the Philippine government is defending its actions, the fact that they have not been able to get help as soon as possible. Part of that is that, the infrastructure was wiped out in this particular town. The airports had been closed. I understand some are open now. So it's hard to get help to them. Fortunately, the United States had been a very close ally of the country and had been helping, and is now helping also.
Well, a remarkable story, by the way, in the Capital Times. Certainly recommended reading. We feel for you, and we hope that everything works out for the best for all of your loved ones and everyone concerned. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on Arizona Horizon.
Thank you.
The Arizona Board of Regents is the governing board for Arizona's 3 public universities. Board President Eileen Klein gave a State of the University address today at ASU. Eileen Klein joins us now on Arizona Horizon. Good to see you again. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, thanks for having me.
What is the state of Arizona's universities?
Generally, actually quite good. So despite having suffered through the downturn like many other entities of the state, we actually have come through stronger. So just like businesses that came through the downturn, I think we're stronger as a result and really now well positioned to serve the state going forward.
How stronger? How so?
So in a couple of ways. So first of all, while it has encouraged us to go out, form new partnerships, and importantly, find new ways of doing business, I think being more connected to our students, thinking about how we can be more efficient getting our students through school, and really being very focused on how we deploy technology. So to what extent can we really change our operational model? All of those things came about largely in response to the downturn that was coupled with a terrific uptick in the number of students who are seeking our services.
Indeed, that's kind of an interesting dynamic there. Talk about Arizona, though, the universities. It seemed like we were kind of going a certain direction, hit the rough spot there. How do we compare with universities nationwide? What's going on here compared to elsewhere?
So with our peers, we do very well. So Arizona's universities, I'm proud to report, are really still a terrific bargain overall, despite concerns about tuition. But also the quality is increasing. And I really think it's attributable to the fact that the leadership of the state and the regents in particular several years back recognized that we could not afford, for multiple reasons, to continue to try to replicate the same types of universities in every location in the state. So they began a pursuit to really differentiate the universities. And as a result today, we really have a complement of higher education services in the state that are delivered from 3 separate university platforms. I think that's going to serve us well going forward.
You mentioned tuition in-state up 70% since 2008.
Right.
That's tops in the country, and out-of-state is up 28%. That's, I think, 11th, and the U.S. average is 11%. Those are the numbers. It's a lot of increase there. I think a lot of folks understand why that tuition had to increase. But what is that doing to getting kids to school and getting them out of school?
Certainly we don't want people to think that somehow they're priced out of a higher education experience in Arizona. That's really important. But it certainly is related to the fact that our university system faced some of the largest cuts among all public universities in the country. But having said that, even though we had to turn more to families during the downturn, a particularly tough time to ask for them for more support, we are still really quite competitive with our peers in terms of our pricing. And importantly, we've increased the amount of aid to families so that really where before we might have been a low tuition state, we also had very low aid, where today we're probably more of a moderate tuition state, but we have much more aid available to families than before.
And as far as you mentioned the budget problems and what we've all gone through, and we've sort of reported on here on Arizona Horizon, legislative priorities now. What are you seeing out there? I know you're looking for an increase, budget increase. You're also looking for bonding. We can get into particulars there, but you've got a legislature, as you are well aware, that isn't all that free with the money these days and hasn't been for a while. How are you going to get this money through?
To be sure, the legislature is rightly concerned that we want to be sure that the general fund, returns to a very healthy state. Our point is simply this. We think that universities are a very important part, have a very important role to play in the state's continued recovery. We think we can be a big part of accelerating that, both in terms of producing a higher educated workforce and in terms of the research investment that we know spurs further economic investment and economic development. So our point is simply this: as the state recovers, and given the courageous decision they made to find a funding support for Medicaid in particular, we're hoping that as monies become freed up as a result of those conditions, that they will recommit to higher education so that we can help keep control really on the tuition increases and be able to advance as we know we need to meet the state's needs long term.
When you talk about the impact of universities on the state's economy, what kind of examples do you show? How do you say, look, here's where it's working, here's what it does, and what kind of reaction are you getting?
Right. So overall positive. I mean, it's been very clear in a number of the most recent job announcements that many of those companies chose to invest because they wanted to be near a university, not just because they're quality graduates who are ready to go to work, but because they want to be next to those centers of discovery. So they want to be right there to really capture new ideas and be able to move those into the marketplace and commercialize them. Our universities have become much more adept at that, and as a result, we're seeing a number of companies who want to be here specifically to be close to our resources.
Is that, and critics will say, say that's a wonderful idea, that's a wonderful thing, but universities are there for an elevated 3 R's. I mean, get these undergraduates through, get these degrees out there, let them do their business and their whole business on the side. How do you respond to those who say the universities shouldn't be involved in this kind of research, this kind of business development?
Well, here's the truth. We know that, first of all, about 2/3 of our jobs by 2018 are going to require some sort of higher education. These same companies are the ones who are clamoring for more skilled labor, and not just technical skills, but really people who are well-rounded, who can be flexible, creative, adaptive, and really help drive and grow business. And so in addition, we're not necessarily talking about, equity positions or any of the things that in the past have made legislators concerned about university involvement in equity in economic development. We're talking about just sheer numbers in terms of volume and research capacity, all the technological development, and really the top research talent that we know we need to spur innovation. That's what companies are really wanting to be near.
That's what companies want to be near. Is that what lawmakers want to hear?
Well, I think that lawmakers are making more of a connection now between the need to advance our educational attainment rates in this state for individual prosperity, certainly, but also to help make this connection to jobs. I think they're seeing more and more that there is this connection between higher education and all of the investments that are made in research that in turn help spur economic development.
It looks like the legislative priorities for the board, 15% budget hike requests there, obviously wish lists here, but we can list them. Nearly $100 million for the universities. Can the state afford $800, $900, whatever the case may be, $1 million? We've heard in the past the state can't afford that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Can the state now afford that?
So we think that it's time for the state, that they're able to afford to recommit, and that it's time for them to recommit. So the state has set very, very aggressive goals for what they want to see in terms of graduates and research capabilities by 2020. So we have to start the resource commitment now to be able to make sure that we're ready to achieve those goals. In terms of return to the state, it's truly, one of the best investments that can be made, and lawmakers hear this quite a bit. If you just spend money on me, we'll return the investment. But the reality is this: nothing pays off more for individuals in terms of their long-term ability to earn a living and be successful than being able to get a higher education degree. We estimate that if, for instance, we had just the same level of educational attainment as our neighboring state, Colorado, just one state over, we'd add probably $9 billion to our state's economy. So to us, it's well worth the trade-off, and it's also an opportunity to decrease people's dependency on the state for those same resources.
How do you, though, balance this particular dynamic, what you're doing with what's happening K through 12? Because that siphons up to you, that funnels up to you. If that's not happening, you're not happening. How do you work that dynamic?
So our universities and our regents in particular today, we just released a data set that really shows exactly this conundrum, that we need more students able to go to college and they need to be prepared to go to college. Sadly, we don't have enough of them. And of all the schools that we do have in the state, not enough of them are able to get students ready enough. Likewise, we need to make sure that we're doing a good job with all the students we do get, moving them all the way through to getting a degree. So really, these things are highly connected. We need our schools to be able to get more students with higher skills to our doorstep, and then we need to be able to get them through. So we're part of a continuum. But the truth is that the state has been very focused on K-12. They may not have been able to invest the dollars that they've wanted, but we've created a statewide reform plan for K-12. What we're asking for now is let's make sure we turn our attention to higher ed and not leave them behind.
You came from the governor's office
right.
to the Board of Regents. Right. Talk about the view, the previous job, and what you're actually seeing now on this job.
So I'll say that, I might have been one even several years back to think, can we really afford to do these things? I know that, when I left the governor's office, I specifically left to come take on this role because I felt it was so important to our state's future. I couldn't think of something more important to apply myself to and to try to rally the state around than improving our higher education system because of the benefits it brings individuals and brings our overall state. We're going to be the corridor for growth, not just for the western United States, but probably the entire United States. And to get there, we need our universities to be strong and successful.
All right, very good. Good to have you here.
Thanks
for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Tonight's Focus on Arizona Technology and Innovation looks at an Arizona Science Center exhibit that may create a new generation of scientists and inventors. Producer Shauna Fisher and photographer Steve Snow show us how a little bit of imagination is going a long way.
Inside the Arizona Science Center, the next great invention may be born. Imaginate, the newest exhibit, invites visitors to use their imaginations and dream big.
The Imaginate exhibit is all about exploration, kids being able to see themselves as innovators.
Rayanne Fox is the educational director for the center and says the exhibit is unlike anything they've ever had before. Imaginate puts the students in the driver's seat and allows them to control what they do and how they do it. The exhibit is made up of 5 different themes, each one designed to encourage imagination, critical thinking, and risk-taking.
So the goal here is for kids to explore how they become engineers, how they become innovators.
In the paper plane section, kids create their own planes. It sounds easy, but when the planes are ready for their first flight, they aren't always successful. Through trial and error, the kids figure out the best design to make the plane soar farther. It's here kids learn one of the biggest factors behind innovation is the motivation to make something better. Fox says it's an important lesson that the best designs evolve over time.
In working with kids, one of the things we don't always tell them is about how they can become innovators or engineers themselves. And so this allows them to see how simple modifications can make something completely different. And so how they can improve their world by a simple modification as opposed to having to create something brand new.
Technology teacher Cole Stewart agrees.
I think it's just kind of like a different viewpoint for them. I think they start working on things and they finally realize, like, wow, I can actually make something.
Dozens of exhibits fill the 8,000 square foot gallery, but the biggest buzz is for the wind tunnel, a plastic tube that simulates a wind turbine. Kids can create mini planes or use found objects like feathers and foam sponges. They're able to control the speed inside the tube to see which design flies through the tube the fastest or just hovers in space.
Kids are having a ball. You hear screaming in the background. They're like, oh my gosh, I just did this, and isn't this great? And mine went faster because of this, and that's friction. And we start talking to them about that, and they get really excited.
7th grader Blake Bradshaw wants to be a marine biologist and says field trips like this one spark her interest in learning more.
It's really fun. It's a great thing to do. It's cool to learn about all the different things that you can go into, all the different sciences that there are, stuff like that. It's really interesting and fun.
If necessity is the mother of invention, then perseverance is the father. Learning that inventions take time and involve a great deal of trying is part of the experience at the stop-motion camera.
Well, Oliver quite enjoyed this.
Kids use toy animals to create their own stop-motion movie. They arrange the toys to tell a story and then shift the animals slightly and capture a single frame on the camera. They can capture as many frames as they want. The more frames they capture, the longer the movie. Stewart is grateful his 7th grade students are getting a chance to enjoy Imaginate. Showing them how the concepts they learn in the classroom exist in the real world is just one benefit.
So many people are hands-on learners. They're not always, audio learners, or they're not, necessarily just visual learners. The fact that they can come here and, hold parts and put things together, it gives them a whole different spin on learning.
While Imaginate is about having fun, the exhibit works hand in hand with Arizona Schools' STEM curriculum. The Science Center provides teachers with worksheets to get the kids thinking before they even set foot inside the exhibit.
But I really want them to be able to take away the idea that we are constantly innovating, we are capable of great things, and that our kids are capable of great things.
Imaginate runs until January 5th. For more information, you can check the Science Center's website at azscience.org. Thursday on Arizona Horizon, an update from a local navigator helping people sign up for insurance under the Affordable Care Act. And we'll find out how $1 million in new state arts funding will be allocated. That's at 5:30 and 10 on the next Arizona Horizon. That is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of 8, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.